Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you are doing very well. So, welcome to this class. Today, we are going to discuss this chapter some basic concepts of chemistry. As you know very well, in our previous class, we had discussed this basic concepts of chemistry and I told you some important topics. In the previous class, whatever we had discussed, let's quickly recall the points and then we will start the today's session. Okay. So in the previous class, from this chapter, that is some basic concepts of chemistry. First of all, I introduced to you the overview of this chapter. I told you all the topics. What are the topics that we will cover in this particular chapter? So in the previous class, I told you what is chemistry. Chemistry is the branch of science that deals with the what reactions, properties, structures of material substances, right? Of material substances. This is called chemistry. It is not only the chemistry of 118 elements, it is beyond that. It is beyond that. It means the compounds, the molecules that are formed due to the combination of these 118 elements. That is all about this chemistry. Then I told you the importance of chemistry. Importance of chemistry in medicines, in drugs, in food, in fertilizers, insecticide, pesticides. So many other importance are there of chemistry. I told you the applications of chemistry. In the previous class, I introduced the word matter. And I told you that matter is something that has space. Matter is something that has space, or you can say that is occupying some space and having some mass, is known as matter. Is known as what? Matter. It can be perceived by our senses. I told you some examples as well, like notebook, pen, table, chair, etc. Then I told you the states of matter. In the previous class, I told you the states of matter. There are three states of matter basically. What these states we are discussing: solid, liquid, and gas. Apart from this, like plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate is also there, but we are not discussing them. The three basic states of matter are solid, liquid, and gas. Solid, liquid, and gas. I told you like what is in solid, what is in liquid, and what is in gas. Now I will discuss the properties of solids and properties of liquids and properties of gas. I hope you are very much clear the concepts. So you can see the states of matter. In the previous class, we had discussed with the help of this diagram the three states of matter. That matter can exist in three physical states. The first one is solid, the second one is liquid, and the third one is gas. In case of solids, you can see these are the constituent particles. These are what? Constituent particles. So in case of solids, the constituent particles are very close to each other. You can say they have negligible interparticle space. You can say they have negligible interparticle space. In which case? In case of solids. But in case of gases, the constituent particles are not very close. They are very far apart from each other. They have a very large distance. Here, in case of gases, more space. Very large space. Very large space. It means you can say if the particles are very far apart from each other, so you can say definitely what? If the particles have very large space or they are very far apart from each other, they have very large space and they are very far apart from each other, so you can say they have negligible interparticle forces of attraction. They have negligible interparticle forces of attraction. So in case of gases, as I told you, very large space is there and they have negligible interparticle forces of attraction. So now we are going to discuss properties of solids, liquids and gases. Basically, matter has three states. Matter can exist in three states, as I told you already: solids, liquids and gases. Okay, solids, liquids and gases. In case of solids, particles are held very close to each other, like this. They are very close. They are very close to each other. And also they are arranged in an orderly fashion, and there is not much freedom of movement. They are not free to move. They are not free to move. This is about what? This is about the solids. Repeating one more time, solids have very less interparticle space. They have negligible interparticle space, but the interparticle forces of attraction is very large in case of solids. The particles of solids are held very close to each other, and also they are arranged in an orderly fashion. Solids are not fluids. They have they can't flow. They are not fluids. They are not fluids. No. Right? Solids are rigid in nature. Solids are what? Rigid in nature. Okay. Let's move to the liquids. Another point, if I want to tell you for solids, solids have a definite shape and definite volume. They have a fixed shape and fixed volume, and they do not have any like variable shape or variable volume. Okay. If this pen has this shape, so it will be looks like this. Okay. The point, it will look like this forever, until unless if I'm not applying any type of force or etc. anything. The point is that in case of solids, the interparticle forces of attraction is very, very strong. Okay. Let's move to liquids. Liquids are also named as fluids. They have fluidity. They are not rigid. They are fluids. Similarly, gases are also fluids. They have also this property, that is this tendency, that is fluidity. And gases are also not rigid. In case of liquids, the particles are close to each other, but they can move around. That means they have more interparticle space than solids. They have more interparticle space than solids, and they have less interparticle space than solids. But they have less interparticle forces of attraction than solids. They have more interparticle space than solids, but they have less interparticle forces of attraction than solids. They have more interparticle space. They have more interparticle forces of attraction than gases, and they have less interparticle space. They have less interparticle space than gases. Okay. So in liquids, the particles are close to each other, but they can move around because they have space. They have space more than solids, but less than gases. Liquids are known as fluids. They have a tendency to flow, like milk can flow, like honey can flow, etc. Liquids have a quality, what? They have a fixed volume, but not a fixed shape. How can you say that? You can take any amount of liquid, like 500 ml or any amount, and you can transfer that particular liquid in different types of beakers or different types of vessels having different shapes, right? Having different shapes. So liquids can take up the shape of any vessel in which they are kept, but they have a definite volume. If you are taking initially 500 ml, so it will be 500 ml in each and every cavity or each and every vessel in which you are transferring that particular liquid. Okay, so this is very interesting point. This is very interesting point. In gases, the particles are far apart as compared to those present in solid or liquid state, and their movement is easy and fast. Gases are also known as fluids. Liquids and gases are not rigid in nature. They have fluidity. They can flow like oxygen gas. Gas, etc. Gases have one more quality. As I told you already about interparticle space and interparticle forces of attraction, gases have diffusion, and diffusion to a large extent. That means in case of gases, the diffusion is large than liquids and solids. So what will be the order of diffusion? First of all, the less diffusion will take place in solids, then liquids. Diffusion will be highest in case of gases. Diffusion will be highest in case of gases. This will be the increasing order of diffusion process. The most important part, what is diffusion? Diffusion is nothing that is the intermixing of particles of matter on its own. Intermixing of particles of matter on its own from and the movement of particles of matter from higher concentration to lower concentration. Okay, like in cold water, diffusion will take place slowly as compared to hot water. Okay, let's move to the next point. The next point, that solids, liquids and gases, out of these only one is rigid, other two are not rigids, and they are fluids. So this is about the properties of states of matter. This is about the properties of states of matter. Now you know very well, solids have definite volume, definite shape. What about the characteristics of matter? Liquids have definite volume but do not have any definite shape. They can take up the shape of any container in which they are placed, in which they are kept. Gases have neither definite volume nor definite shape. It means they do not have fixed shape and fixed volume. They do not have fixed shape and fixed volume. They completely occupy the space in the container in which they are placed. Similarly, liquids can take up the shape of the container in which they are placed. So this is about the solids, liquids and gases properties. Quickly recalling this point: solids, liquids and gases. Fixed shape, fixed volume. Fixed volume, not fixed shape. No fixed shape, no fixed volume. No fixed shape, no fixed volume. This is about solid, liquids and gases. The next point will be solids are rigid. Liquids are fluids. And gases are also fluids. solids have strong force of attraction and liquids have you can say little bit weak force of attraction as compared to solids. Weak than solids but more than gases, right? I'm talking about forces of attraction. Forces of attraction in case of liquids is weak than solids but more than gases. In gases, the forces of attraction is weakest. In gases, weakest forces of attraction. If I will go with the space, solids have negligible space. Negligible interparticle space. Liquids have more space than solids. And gases have very large space, etc. These are the some points. So this is about the states of matter. Now you know very well you can convert these states of matter into each other. That means the interconversion of states of matter is possible by changing the temperature and pressure. By changing the temperature and pressure, the interconversion of states of matter is possible. So three states of matter are interconvertible by changing the conditions of temperature and pressure. कैसे change करेंगे? How can we change? You can see solid, liquid, and gases. If you are heating a solid, if we are increasing the temperature of solid, suppose this is ice, you are heating it, what happens? You will get liquid water. If you are heating it, you will get water. Thus, conversion of solid to liquid by increasing the temperature at its melting point is named as melt. The conversion of liquid to again solid is named as freezing at its freezing point. This process happened at its melting point. It means if you are increasing the temperature, particles' kinetic energy will increase and they will increase the space. They will increase the space. That means they will increase the interparticle space and the solid particles will convert themselves into liquids. Okay. Because solid particles are not free to move, so they are vibrating only, so they will increase the vibration and then they will attain that particular amount of energy that is sufficient to break the interparticle force of attraction present between them. That is sufficient to break the interparticle forces of attraction present between them. So solid to liquid conversion at its melting point is named as melting. The temperature at which the solid is getting converted into liquid is named as what? Melting point. The liquid to solid conversion reverse is called freezing and the liquid to solid conversion is named as freezing, and the temperature, we have to decrease the temperature, then you will get solid. So the liquid to solid conversion at its freezing point is called freezing. At its freezing point is called freezing. And what is freezing point? The temperature at which the liquid converting itself into solid is named as freezing point, or is called freezing point. Okay. Then after solid to liquid, liquid to gas conversion is here. Liquid to gas conversion is named as vaporization. Vaporization can be done in two ways. Boiling and evaporation. One is boiling, another is evaporation. Boiling is at boiling point. If the vaporization occur at boiling point, then it is named as boiling. If the vaporization occur below boiling point at any temperature, below boiling point, then it is known as evaporation. Normally liquid is placed in a beaker and outside the you can say outside the house, or you can say on roof. Then during the sunlight, what will happen? Evaporation can happen, right? Evaporation can happen, and you can observe evaporation process in your daily life as well. So the conversion of liquid to gas, gaseous phase, without reaching the boiling point, is known as evaporation. Evaporation can be affected by some factors, like you can say temperature. With increase in temperature, evaporation will increase. Surface area, with increase in surface area, evaporation will increase, because more and more surface particles are available to go to the evaporation phase, because evaporation is a surface phenomenon, it is not a bulk phenomena, right? The third one is like humidity. More humidity, then what will happen? Definitely less rate of evaporation, and less humidity, more rate of evaporation. So humidity is like inversely related to this. Humidity, you can take like wind speed, or you can take air. So these are the factors that can affect the evaporation. Vaporization that can happen below the boiling point of that liquid is named as vaporization, is called vaporization. Clear? I hope so far you are clear that what is vaporization, and vaporization can be done in two ways. So you are clear about boiling and evaporation as well. The reverse, that means gas to liquid conversion, is named as condensation. Is named as condensation. Condensation is like the examples of dewdrop. Okay, dewdrops. You can take the examples of when you will buy a chilled water bottle, right, and placed the chilled water bottle at room temperature. What will happen? After some time, you will see the droplets, water droplets, on the surface of, on the body of water bottle. Then what is that process? This is named as condensation. The conversion of gaseous particles to liquid state is named as condensation. There are two more important processes. The first one is solid to directly gas conversion without passing through the liquid state, is named as sublimation. Every substance is not sublimable substance. Some substances like dry ice, camphor, naphthalene, anthracene, iodine, solid iodine, these are some sublimable substances. The reverse, the gas to solid conversion is named as deposition. But you have to add a single word here. The solid to gas conversion without passing through the liquid state is named as sublimation, and the gas to solid conversion without passing through the liquid state is named as deposition, like frost is an example of deposition. Okay, so this is about the interconvergence of states of matter. There are three states of matter and that are interconvertible by changing the conditions of temperature and pressure. On heating, a solid usually changes to a liquid, and the liquid on further heating changes to gas or vapor. In the reverse process, a gas on cooling liquefies to the liquid, and the liquid on further cooling freezes to the solid. For example, ice to water, water to water vapors, water vapors to water, water to ice. So this is the interconversion of states of matter. I hope you are getting a clear idea that how can you convert the what solid to liquid, liquid to gas by changing the temperature, gas to liquid, liquid to solid by changing the temperature. By increasing temperature, you can go to solid to liquid and liquid to gas. Why this process is happening? Because if you are increasing the temperature, particles kinetic energy will increase and they will overcome the interparticle forces of attraction present between them. If the particles overcome the interparticle forces of attraction present between them, then definitely they will change their state. Okay, so this is about the states of matter. In the next class, we will discuss the classification of matter. That matter can be classified into mixtures or pure substances. Then further, mixtures and pure substances are classified into two categories. We will be discussing the another points that what is the classification of matter in the next class. I hope so far whatever we have covered, you are very much clear about those points, right? So today we have covered in this class the interconversion of states of matter. Mainly and also before that we have covered properties of states of matter. Like properties of solids, properties of liquids, properties of gases. Okay, so this is about the interconversion of states of matter and properties of states of matter. So we had discussed very important points of this class and I hope you got each and every point. In the next class we will be discussing the classification of matter. That matter can be classified into pure substance and mixture. Pure substance have constant composition and constant properties throughout the sample. Pure substance further can be classified into two categories. One is, tell me, element. Mixtures further classified. Homogeneous or heterogeneous. In homogeneous we will discuss solution. In heterogeneous we will discuss further two things, colloids and suspension. Elements are simplest pure substances. 118 elements are present in the periodic table, which looks like this. Bottom two rows are also there, like that. Compounds which are formed due to the chemical combination of elements. Some examples of compounds like CO2, SO2, SO3, NH3, etc. So in the next class, we will be going to discuss what are pure substances, what are the examples, how can you say that this is a pure substance, what are mixtures, how mixtures are formed, different types of mixtures, different examples of mixture, what are elements, examples of elements, what are compounds, how compounds are formed due to the chemical combination of elements, what is homogeneous mixture, and in the meantime what are the compounds of, what are the like some examples of compounds, homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture, solution. What is solution? What are the properties of solution? What is the particle size? What is density? What is what I can say, what are the examples of solution? We will cover this homogeneous mixture in that. In heterogeneous mixture, we will cover what are colloids and suspension, what are the properties of colloids and suspension, what is the Tyndall effect, and what is the particle size of colloids and suspension. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone. So this is all about this today's class, in which we have covered mainly properties or of states of matter. It means properties of solids, properties of liquids, and properties of gases. And also we had discussed what we can say, and also we had discussed the interconversion of states of matter, which is important. The conversion of solid to liquid, liquid to gas upon heating, and the gas to liquid and liquid to solid upon cooling, right? So this is about the session. So thank you so much everyone. We will meet soon in the next class with new concepts. Okay, so revise these concepts. Have a good day. Have a good day to all of you, and take care. Thank you.